Wanted to talk now about how to kind of deal with random behaviors that come, how to troubleshoot stuff. So let's say that your kid is, making loud clicking noises. Mm-hmm. And the question is, how do I get him to stop making loud clicking noises? You don't. That would be controlling and manipulating. What you want to figure out is what's the root cause of that. All behavior is communication. Yep. They're communicating something. If all of a sudden they're freaking out and not wanting to go to school, it's for a reason.
Yep. And as a sophomore, and it was only my sophomore year of high school. In my sophomore year of high school, I just transitioned to a new school. I started having a really strange nervous tic that came from deep in my throat, and I would just make this really strange sound, something like that. Yeah.
I don't even know if that caught on the mic, but yeah. Strange noises.
Yeah, by Danny Rady. And I would make these strange noises, and everybody else was like, Hayden, stop. Like, they were getting all mad at me and stuff without realizing that there was a pattern to it. I only did it when I was super, super, super nervous. Only catch was I was nervous all the time. So it got worse. There was a time in one day where I did it every 5 minutes all day. And my mom figured out that it was directly related to how anxious I was feeling. So what did she do? She addressed my anxiety.
And that suddenly, no more tic.
Yeah. And I went to a new school the year after, mainly because that one school actually wouldn't let me back because of it. Because it was disrupting students and stuff. And I felt so bad. But I went to this new school, and it was a more nurturing environment there. And all of a sudden, I wasn't anxious anymore.
Yeah.
I started, and there was some other work going on behind the scenes with my mom and stuff. I felt great, and I'd never made the nervous tic ever again.
The point being, you don't fix the behavior.
Yeah.
The behavior is trying to communicate something. Generally, I'm scared / in defense mode. You resolve that.
Yeah.
Good news. You know how to resolve defense mode now.
It is a cry for help.
So it totally is. And trying to get your kid to do something is just simply not going to work.
Yeah.
If you're listening to this with someone with Asperger's, look at them right now and watch as they nod your head and say, I've been trying to tell you that for as long as I've been alive. And
most of them don't have the self-awareness yet. When they're in defense mode, to tell you, like, look, I'm doing this because I'm anxious. They can get to that point. Danny and I are totally at that point, been there for years. And this is kind of one of the points of what we're trying to get to, is that self-awareness, so that you can take yourself out of it and really just experience life to its fullest.
Yeah, so what it looks like when you have that extreme awareness is we'll have conversations in the office of, I'm in defense mode right now, so if you say anything to me in this manner, I'm going to start to freak out a little bit. So what I need right now is I need to go into other rooms. I'll see you in like 10 minutes. Bye.
Yep. And what I've learned is that when Danny is in defense mode specifically, and then vice versa, suggestions, any type of criticism, or just any type of
talking
overwhelms him a lot. So we've put in things that and like signals and stuff like that help him process his stuff without feeling threatened in the office, because none of us deserve to feel unsafe in our own workspace.
Yeah. So if you're thinking about, oh my god, does that mean that I'm never going to stay out of defense mode? It's not about getting out of defense mode for good and staying out. It's about handling whatever comes up to you and not resisting it, because you have the appropriate tools to be able to process it appropriately.
Yep. Being comfortable with the constant flip-flopping, or being prepared for the constant flip-flopping.
Being prepared for the full palette of emotions and willing to accept and process those instead of trying to resist any of them. Yeah. That's the name of the game, not trying to be happy 24/7.
Yeah, because that's just not going to happen.
Because if you're happy 24/7, then you're happy none of the time, because the only reason why you're happy is because you're sad some of the times and you have something to compare it to.
Yeah, he's absolutely right. And Danny and I, just as a little side note, Danny and I find ourselves in defense mode again, fairly frequently.
Yeah.
The difference is we know that it's going to be okay.
And we know how to get ourselves out of it fairly quickly. So it's not like we're in defense mode for months. We're in defense mode for hours.
Yes.
Like, it will be, I'm in defense mode, I need to go take a walk, I will see you in an hour, okay, I'm good, now let's continue.
This morning, I actually was like almost timing this in a weird way. I was in defense mode for about 25 minutes. And then my environment changed, and I knew what I needed. Danny knew what I needed, and we're getting a lot better at communicating with each other that way. And I was in defense mode for about 25 to 30 minutes, and it was fantastic.
And that's the name of the game, is I mean, not the resistance.
Yeah, because
You can tell there's a theme here.
Yeah.
Anyway, so let's talk about some common mistakes. The whole name of the game of defense mode is, say it with me now, not resistance.
Not
resistance is futile. I've always wanted to say that. I think I have in the past weeks, but I'm saying it again. Resistance is futile. So, going too fast. Once you hit that first time where you experience the result of defense mode, of I'm out of defense mode, this feels amazing, getting addicted to that feeling is very not safe because then you're going to try and like force yourself to be out of defense mode all the time.
Find a pace that works for you, essentially.
Exactly. I mean, especially even with the somatic experiencing work, we needed to find like every other week was my pace, 1 hour every other week, and that was what worked for me.
Yeah.
Because if you try and do it every day, you're going to overwhelm yourself because, again, when you're getting out of defense mode, you're starting to process the stuff and then picking up where you left off.
If you get really overexcited with it, you're going to re-overwhelm yourself.
And then you're just going to traumatize yourself, get into defense mode, and let's start over.
Yeah.
So
please go at your own pace. Go at your, if this is directed at parents too. Go at your child's pace, and that's just super important.
And I mean, knowing when to stop as well is yes, you've been, let's say you get really into the somatic experiencing work. You don't do 5 hours at a time.
Yeah, because if you think about it, like pacing is an issue with just the processing of defense mode. The world is throwing sensations onto the kid with Asperger's or the person with Asperger's faster than they can process.
In addition to them rousing up past sensations that have not been dealt with. So if you do this too quickly, they will get more overwhelmed than they have ever been in their life.
And they will associate getting out of defense mode with trauma, and then that just creates whole new problems.
So you want to do this slowly.
Yeah.
You want to do this carefully.
And lovingly.
And lovingly. You do not want to jump into the pool. You want to dip your toe in the pool to make sure it is the right temperature.
Yeah.
And then put a foot in.
That way, if it's like acid cleverly disguised as chlorine water, you only lose a big toe.
Exactly.
So,
or, part of a big toe.
Yeah.
But, fixing it, and by fixing, I mean fixing defense mode because you hate yourself rather than you love yourself, that was my trap. Mm-hmm. When I first started to figure this out, it was, let's do this all the time because I can fix every flaw that has ever happened with me and just make myself into the perfect model of who I think I should be. Oops.
Yeah,
6 months of the worst depression, and anxiety, and fear and panic attacks I've ever had in my life.
And the only reason I didn't mimic that was because Danny warned me not to.
I made sure of it because you are in for a world of pain if you figure this out and try and manipulate and control your defense mode.
That was one of the only, periods of time where I've known Danny where I didn't hear from him pretty much for months. And it's because he was dealing with...
Because I was curled up on the floor in a fetal ball crying. Like, I cannot stress this enough. Work on loving yourself first. If you are doing this as a means to fix yourself because you hate yourself, stop. Work on loving yourself first. I have a giant 3-foot by 3-foot poster in my little work area at my apartment that says, "The answer is love." Why? Because I need a constant reminder of this.
Yeah.
And it is so important that I refuse to do any personal development work on myself at all whatsoever unless I am doing it from a place of love. I love myself, therefore I'm going to get myself out of defense mode.
Because I deserve to be out of defense.
Versus I hate myself, therefore I'm going to get myself out of defense mode so I can love myself.
Yep.
The second one, don't...
it doesn't work like that.
Seriously, please work on loving yourself and just practice it. How do I love myself? You know the feeling that you get when you love something else? Apply that to yourself. That's it. There's, nothing else to it.
I mean, what I figured out, and I came to this realization through talks with our office manager, that I treat other people so well, but I treated myself so poorly that I really boiled it down to, I thought of other people, and this is really bad, I thought of other people as people who deserve to be loved and trusted and nurtured. I almost didn't even think of myself as a person worth that. Like I didn't apply the same rules to myself as I did to others. When I'm just like everybody else, I'm a person too. So some rule in my head was like, Hayden, you're below a person. You're an insect, pretty much. And so that was something that I had to address immediately because, as Danny said, the personal development work actually doesn't work if you don't do that first.
Because then you're just digging yourself into
you're lying to yourself.
A should hole.
Yeah.
I mean, you're essentially you're shoulding all over yourself. Because I should be this way, I should be that way, I'm changing this, I'm changing that, I don't like who I am.
Yeah, that's absolutely right.
And then all you get is a whole bunch of guilt and regret and sadness, and guess what that does? Puts you into defense mode. Woo! So, you gotta do it with love. You gotta do it with trust. Otherwise, it's not gonna work. So that kind of covers the resisting, manipulating, control. It's just not gonna work if you resist, manipulate, control.
Yeah.
It's not.
And one of the things that I suggested we talk about today when Danny and I were planning this is that a lot of people get caught up in what is supposed to happen, which is kind of a subcategory / sub problem. I know that's not a word, but like a sub thing of controlling.
Yeah.
You want to control the outcome of every situation. You think that's what's supposed to happen. And that causes anxiety because you're afraid, like, well, what if it doesn't happen that way?
What if it doesn't happen like it's supposed to? How do you know it's supposed to happen that way?
Like, what are you basing that in?
Yeah.
You know?
So, remember the point in our lives when we didn't have a this is what's supposed to happen? We were just learning this is what happens? Since when did that stop?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, since when did we decide now we know everything in the world, now we know what's supposed to happen in every single situation?
Supposed and should are just such dangerous words. I mean, because those are the anxiety's fuel, pretty much.
Because what you're supposed to do is that you should not use any of those words. So, I mean, seriously, like it's if you're thinking in that, halt, do meditation, and practice loving yourself until you can do it from a place where you love yourself. If you're a parent, help your kid get out of defense mode, not because you hate seeing them in defense mode, but because you love them too much to see them like that.
And just let go. I mean, and yes, it's as easy as it sounds. Just let it go. Hold your hand out in the fist and then open it. It's as easy as that. Let go. Let go. Let go of
all the shoulds.
Of the need to control the outcomes of every situation. Let go of that attachment to certainty. Because life's uncertain.
Yeah.
And if that's where you get your security, find your security in somewhere else.
Good news,
in
though.
yourself.
When you're in defense mode, you need a lot more security and certainty. Right. As you get out of defense mode, you naturally let that go.
Right. And
so, while you're doing this, if you're trying to learn how to get out of defense mode while you're in defense mode, it's not going to work that well.
Just bad news bears.
So this is a weird catch-22 where you need to kind of get yourself out of defense mode before you can get yourself out of defense mode.
Yeah.
And the way you do that is if you're freaking out and you're in that high elevated state, get yourself back to a calmer state through meditation or breathing or just kind of chilling out watching a movie for a while until you're at least calm enough where you can take in information. That's when you are in a conducive state to learn.
Absolutely.
So being out of defense mode feels freeing. It feels like the most wonderful thing in the world. I mean, your biology turns back on. You go, oh, this is like I have all this help that I didn't realize. I didn't need to do this all myself.
Your animalistic instincts take a back seat, and you're able to function and enjoy your higher human cognition.
Yeah.
But like on top of all that, not getting all sciencey at all. It's just really you feel lighter almost because and you don't notice that till you're out of it and you're lighter and you're like, oh, I was heavy for years. Mm-hmm. Because the weight of the world is literally just crushing you and grinding you into the ground. And then when you figure out that like you can soar, it's very liberating. It's unlike anything I can ever describe to you in speech or in writing.
Yes.
It's amazing.
So going forward, continue with all this. Go back to week 1. Listen to it again. Go back to week 2 and 3. Do some of this stuff. Check out what we've recommended. As you work through all of this, you will see results. It's not going to be overnight.
And you will see results as long as you remember love is the bottom line. Do it out of love.
Yes.
Like what Danny said. Do it out of love. Let that drive your actions. Let that be, not your manipulation, not anything else, not your fear that they're going to, fail or something like that. Just love them and trust that they're going to get out of this and that they have the inner strength to get out of this.
I think that's, enough said.
So
thank you all so much.
Thank you.
And we'll talk to you again later.
Yeah, bye.